What Doesn't Kill Us by Scott Carney starts out with this warning. Warning. No one should attempt any of these practices without the appropriate experience, fitness level, doctor approval, and supervision. And even then, readers should be aware that these practices are inherently dangerous and could result in grave harm of death. Any book that starts off with a warning like that is going to be good. I look for that in all my books. It's the same warning that you see at those Spartan races and Tough Mudders, you ever heard of those? Where they make you sign a waiver before climbing up rope nets, barrier walls, all the while enduring tear gas clouds on all fours through beds of snow. And Scott gets into all this in the story because that's where our culture is at. Why do we need this? Are we sensing that all the Netflix and room-controlled temperatures is somehow going against who we used to be back in the days, hunting mammoths? There's something profound about facing down the fight or flight response, about tapping into the sympathetic nervous system that we need as a species if we're going to reach our full potential. And what if you could do this without crawling under electrified wire, or without having to go to war to find out who you really are on a physiological level as well as psychological? I mean, there would be a lot of benefits, and that's what the author was interested in. That's what we came for. Scott Carney is an anthropologist and investigative journalist / debunker who heard of this guy named Wim Hof who was doing miraculous things. Wim was setting world records for ice submersion, making a name for himself, running through a desert in a marathon without drinking any water. And more importantly than this outward show, he was using breathing and ice and cold water showers to tap into the autonomic nervous system, hence the immune system. People have been doing this for centuries, but Wim Hof is the first one ever to back it up with science. Holy shit, this guy cannot be real, Carney must have been thinking. And before he knew it, he began this journey that a lot of other people were taking as well. People with health ailments ranging from Parkinson's to arthritis to Crohn's disease. They were starting out, these people, on prescription drugs, and when those failed, they sought out Wim Hof as a last resort. It seems like the people who are having the most success with the Wim Hof method, Carney observed, they seem to be those with autoimmune conditions. His techniques and breathing are like a form of controlled hyperventilation. Wim has a 10-week online class you can learn about this, where he starts you off with cold showers in the morning and these breathing techniques, and ends the course with jumping into freezing rivers and tubs of ice as an example. Hopefully I didn't give away too much. With this said, the Wim Hof method doesn't just apply his breathing techniques and cold water therapies to autoimmune conditions. His science may be applicable to anything that you need to heal in theory. And we get a variety of examples in the book. For instance, we hear about one guy named MUELEN who got kicked by a horse in the arm and body, which made his arm snap in 2 places. The doctors told him the fracture would be a long recovery. MUELEN also had large purple horseshoe-shaped bruise over his kidney and ribs, and strangely enough, the nurses noticed that the bruises were gone the very next day. Who can heal like this? They asked themselves. Well, MUELEN was doing the Wim Hof breathing exercises when he went home while focusing on his bruises for hours. That's how he did it. And after his surgery on his arm, MUELEN says he focused on his arm doing the breathing exercises as well as he did when he focused on the kidney and ribs for 4 hours. Nurses told him that when his arm started to itch, he should return in about 2 weeks and they'd take the sutures out, but MUELEN's arm started to itch only after 3 days. MUELEN showed Carney the pictures to prove it. The nurses called MUELEN an anomaly. They'd never seen anything like this before. MUELEN explained that he dropped everything in his life and just breathed and willed his arm to get better. That is exactly how it works, Wim told MUELEN. It was the same technique Wim used to treat himself when he got frostbitten feet. 2 months later, MUELEN was in a 7-mile race. That's how fast he healed. Now, normally, he would finish in the middle of the pack, but he kept up the breathing exercises that he'd been practicing, and by the time the race was over, he discovered he had finished in the top 10. Thank you for joining me today, and feel free to share this video with any of your friends. This book is riveting, so don't forget to hit that subscribe and thumbs up button, and let me know if you've tried Wim Hof in the comments section below. I'll see you guys for part 2 tomorrow, wherein we'll talk about Wim Hof and the Wedge. My dear friends, it was great, as always.